Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk about something that may very well be remembered as a turning point in the history of artificial intelligence. Elon Musk has just torn off Silicon Valley's fig leaf, and the moment he did, the entire world saw something shocking. In the global AI competition, balance of power is fundamentally shifting. Here is what happened. Over the past few days, a drama that can only be described as the AI fraud scandal of the century has unfolded across the global tech industry. The main character is Cursor, the hottest AI coding startup in Silicon Valley right now. The company proudly announced the release of its self-developed Composer 2 model, claiming it represents next-generation breakthrough performance. But then something dramatic happened. Developers around the world dug into the code and caught a fatal detail. The model ID clearly displayed Kimi K2.5, a large language model made in China. Let me put this into perspective. Cursor is a Silicon Valley star company chasing a $50 billion valuation. Its most important competitive advantage, the very thing that justifies its sky-high valuation, turned out to be quietly built on top of a Chinese foundation model. And the Chinese company that developed this model is valued at just $18 billion. The entire AI community erupted in shock. What makes this even more interesting is that the Chinese company behind this model, Moonshot AI, the team behind Kimi, had just days earlier published a technical paper called Attention Residuals. For the first time in the 10 years since Transformer was introduced, someone made a major structural redesign of the residual connection at the foundational level. In simple terms, Kimi proposed an entirely new way of thinking about the foundational architecture of the entire large language model species. This achievement caught Elon Musk's attention personally, and he described it as impressive. Then, sharp-eyed developers noticed something strange. The name of this Chinese model looked oddly familiar, seemed to be hidden inside the underlying code of Silicon Valley's so-called self-developed cutting-edge model Composer 2. Musk himself confirmed it and reposted on social media, sealing the verdict. Cursor could no longer stay silent. The co-founder publicly issued a statement essentially admitting defeat. We systematically evaluated numerous open-source foundation models, and Kimi K2.5 proved to be the strongest in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, in that moment, the fig leaf was completely torn off. The proud tower of technological innovation that Silicon Valley companies have been showing off, its very foundation is being quietly replaced by something made in China. We need to understand something important. Silicon Valley is not just a geographic location. It is the spiritual home for the world's top AI talent. It is the most irreplaceable cornerstone of America's position in the global AI competition. But once Musk personally tore off this fig leaf, Silicon Valley's two pillars, its innovation edge and its ability to set global standards, both began to shake. Can we still trust Silicon Valley? People started asking this question on social media. Once the seed of doubt is planted, the wheels of fate begin to turn. More and more people are realizing they should not only follow Silicon Valley's story. Not only are Silicon Valley startups abandoning expensive proprietary models in favor of open-source Chinese alternatives, but global giants like Airbnb and German industrial leader Siemens are openly using Chinese models in their operations. The market is voting with its feet. Take Kimi. In just 3 months, its valuation quadrupled to $18 billion. The co-founder of Hugging Face, the world's largest AI community, said it bluntly: Chinese open source has become the strongest driving force shaping the global AI technology stack. So why did Kimi become the world's strongest open source foundation model, the one competitors chose to secretly use even at the risk of being exposed? Behind every coincidence lies an inevitability. Even before being praised by Silicon Valley giants, Cloudflare, global internet infrastructure giant valued at $80 billion, had already deployed Kimi K2.5 in production. The result? Their internal security audit system, which processes 7 billion tokens daily, saw operational costs drop by 77%, with significant efficiency gains. Behind this are technical advantages like the trillion-parameter mixture of experts architecture and native multimodal understanding. But more importantly, this model achieved the optimal balance between performance and price. Chinese large language models have their own unique advantages. They evolve fast and they cost less. The essence of these two advantages points to one critical truth. China's infrastructure advantage in the AI era is becoming the decisive factor in the AI competition. T here is another trend worth paying attention to. Token going overseas. Paid usage of Chinese large language models from overseas users has shown explosive growth. The number of people around the world spending money to use Chinese large language models is growing rapidly. Part of the reason is that Chinese models are simply getting better. The other key factor is cost. China's power generation advantage is being converted into computing power advantage, making the price of tokens significantly lower than overseas competitors. When Chinese large language models serve users around the world with more cost-effective tokens, their growth speed will inevitably surpass their Silicon Valley counterparts. This trend is irreversible. Interestingly, the way this Kimi situation ended was quite peaceful. Moonshot AI did not block Silicon Valley giants from using its products. Instead, they took the high road and posted. We are proud to see Kimi K2.5 provide the foundation. Silicon Valley definitely doesn't want to hear words like these, because this is the equivalent of pulling the rug out from underneath them. It changes who gets to define the future of technology. Let me give you an analogy. Silicon Valley has long been building luxury sports cars and leading the industry. But one day, someone opens the hood of a new sports car and discovers the engine was actually made in China. At that point, the day when Chinese companies redefine what a luxury sports car is becomes very close. And remember, China is also building highways for the entire world. Silicon Valley's giants don't even dare to face the rise of Chinese AI head-on, because the moment they admit that Chinese labs are pushing the industry forward in a more efficient and more open way, Silicon Valley's sacred status disappears. And when AI companies around the world turn their eyes toward the East, can the financing narrative of needing $1 trillion to build AGI still hold up? Ladies and gentlemen, what Musk exposed is not just a fig leaf. It is the line of fate for Silicon Valley. The development paradigm of global AI is no longer limited to a single track of Silicon Valley invents and the world adopts. There is now a new track. China innovates and the world benefits. The rise of Chinese AI is not just about rising GDP numbers. It's about the systemic capability to define the foundation of the next era. When more and more global intelligence begins to run on infrastructure where efficiency, cost, and rules are defined by China, who will shape the next era is already self-evident. That's all for today's episode. If you found this analysis valuable, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next one.